You tell stories. You've been telling stories all your life for businesses. You've also been telling stories to help reduce bias. I think of Share the Mic Now when it comes to Instagram and other platforms. What is it in your story that you want to share?
First, thank you so much for having me. You're right. I've been sharing stories, telling stories, narratives for my entire career. And I feel like right now, at this moment in time, we've all been suffering some sort of loss over the last 3 years, at the very least, right? If not longer. Loss of identity, loss of comfort, loss of sometimes loved ones. And we are still not able to necessarily come all the way clean about it, to bring it into a public eye. We feel ashamed. We need to hide it. We need to hide our suffering and our disquiet. And I think it's about time for us to start saying those types of things out loud. We're whole human beings. We're
Yeah.
not just the professional side, we're also the personal side. And so, how do we bring both of those to really bring the whole person?
Your story is one of loss with Peter, your husband, who died of cancer. Of course, you've grieved loss of children and you've saw previous loved ones. I think of other executives, I mean, Sheryl Sandberg comes to light, of someone who shared the story of loss and trying to bring a full self to work. Talk to us about all the companies that you've worked at, big technology companies, allowing that you can be your full self in whatever way that is, and that sometimes a drive to survive and a drive to thrive can be a drive for happiness too, not just a general desire to get ever higher.
Yes, it's so true. The companies that I've worked for and many that are in tech, there's such high pressure environments. You're moving so fast. You have to think ahead, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps ahead. And what happens if you are dealing with something that's very present? Something that is dragging you down. Grief has a way of pulling you into the past. It doesn't allow you to dream of the future. So how could you possibly think about the next thing that's coming if you are grieving? I think that we have to open space for that. And for me, it has felt that in this present time, there's been more conversation around mental health. There's been more conversation around how we can be whole human beings. But there's still a lot of, what I would say like taboo, around that. And I think it's time for us to knock that down, really, and begin to have more open dialogue so that we understand the fullness of our employees, our colleagues. For certain, it will be a better working environment if we
Right.
allowed the space they need.
Bozoma, you were CMO at Netflix for a time, and I wondered if you could reflect on some decisions that Netflix had made that perhaps weren't something received positively by everyone, namely the decision to charge for password sharing and add in an ad-supported tiers. Those were two really profound moments for Netflix's offering. How do you assess how they handled that?
Well, look, I think storytelling is very tough. There is so much that happens in corporate boardrooms to make decisions that you believe are best for all customers. And even though I wasn't part of the decision to make that choice, I do think that storytelling has a way of being sometimes, hard to really get the whole story out if you don't have a perspective on how it actually benefits everyone. So for me, I think there's an opportunity always to think about the benefits to challenges that people may face once a business makes a decision that is good for the business and also good for the customer.